We'll be talking to the government in about half an hour about their new plans to build gas power stations, and there's a lot of them that are beginning to tail off, and they're going to extend the life of them. And this is what they say is to avoid blackouts as we move to renewables. On the days when the sun's not shining, the wind's not blowing, it means that we're not in a vulnerable position in the wake of everything that's happened with Russia and Ukraine.
Well, I always say the move to net zero is an evolution, not a revolution. There has to be a little bit of give and take along the way, but I think what the government's doing is it's kowtowing to the oil and gas industry, to be honest with you. They're sitting on the fence in terms of net zero. I think that's exactly where it is, and I don't think people appreciate that. I think they want a decision one way or the other, and at least we can see it. I think stepping forward, stepping backwards, new oil licences, new gas licences, new this, new that, that's actually stepping back into the past. And when you look what's going on around the globe, for example, we've now seen the ninth month in a row where global temperatures have hit an all-time record. 9 in a row. I mean, there's a pattern there somewhere, isn't there?
Although greenhouse emissions at lowest since 1879, and I've read that in a couple of the papers this morning, so there's some positive news.
Yeah, I don't want to say that everything is negative. I think we are actually moving in the right direction, but what we don't want to do is go in the wrong direction. So GDP in the last year went up by 0.1%. In other words, flat, but the green side of it went up by 0.9. So in other words, that's your direction of travel. If you want economic growth, then invest in that area. That's the area to be in, and we're all going to feel better about it, even if we cover those pylons in nice green trees and, you know, stuff like that.
Meanwhile, though, we can talk about climate, we can talk about weather change, emissions and whatever, but people go out their door today and they're hit with floods, basically. It's pouring down over most of the country, a bit of snow up in Scotland. What would you say in terms of what we are experiencing? And the thought seems to be from people, well, it's mid-March, why is it so bad? But if I could just interrupt here, because it is Cheltenham Festival Week, and
we've had some bad weeks, haven't we, weather-wise?
All I ever remember is bad weather at Cheltenham, including snow. So I don't see I don't know what all the fuss is about, because I think this is pretty typical weather for. Yeah,
it's always a debate as to is it typical, isn't it typical, where are we? I think you can ask the farmers. I mentioned the farmers already, and we did have a discussion with a farmer a few weeks ago in terms of saying, look, this is quite important. So from October time through to now, I mentioned the Somerset levels for a good reason, that they are absolutely flooded. And even the park next to me, the Rye in High Wycombe, it's hard to walk across it, to be honest with you. It's a swamp, an absolute swamp. Rain after rain after rain after rain. We are in one of the wettest winters on record. I say winters, we're now in spring, of course. So it continues on. And this is the difficulty for particularly for farmers who want to get their livestock out. And we're getting a lot of calls from these people who are saying, you know, when's it going to brighten up? When are we going to lose this? And here we are waking up again, and it's another rain day for most of us today, and it will be through the course of the week. It will come to an end, and this is written on the can, by the way, of climate change, that we would see wetter winters, early springs, and that there would be sometimes to the point of difficulty in terms of floods. I think that's what we're seeing, and not just the wet weather, but also the mild weather that goes with it. So at least there's some consolation in the fact that temperatures will start to be on the up as time goes on. So look, I think we've got to take it as what it is, what's written on the can of climate change, that this will come. I'm not saying everything is climate change. I'm saying that it's a bit of both, and that's how it's got to be, that we see that. So next expectation is we get into we're going to see a switch change. Come April, watch it, OK? I'll say it on this programme now. We will see hot weather start to bake in during the course of April, and at times in the summertime. We're not divorced from what's going on around the globe, and what's going on around the globe is quite frightening in terms of the temperature profiles. So the USA have just had its warmest winter ever, and I look at places like Thailand and Malaysia and Africa. These places are seeing super temperatures, not just breaking a record, but breaking it by huge margins. Some of that is heading in our direction as the season moves on from spring into summer. Watch the space.